Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
Mosquito-borne diseases are spreading as climates change, and cities across China are fighting back with ambitious action plans and community-led solutions. But one strategy from another part of the world is raising eyebrows. Google wants to release over 30 million bioengineered mosquitoes in the United States. Could that approach work elsewhere? Could it even work in the United States? What exactly is the right balance between science and safety? We're live from our studios in Beijing. This is Roundtable. I'm Steve. Thanks for being with us today. And for the show, I'm with Yushan and Yushan. First up, mosquitoes may be tiny, but the problems they bring are getting bigger. As warmer temperatures, heavier rainfall, and changing urban environments create ideal breeding conditions, diseases like dengue fever and chikungunya are becoming a growing public health concern all around the world. From Beijing's ambitious 3-year action plan to innovative community-based solutions in Guangdong, cities are exploring smarter and more sustainable ways to keep mosquito populations under control. Google in America is taking things a step further. They are seeking government permission to release 32 million bioengineered mosquitoes throughout the states of Florida and California. Controversial indeed. What does a truly mosquito hazard-free community look like, and can communities find a balance between protecting public health and preserving the environment? Yushan and Yushan, good afternoon to you both. We're going to get to that story, the Google story in America, in a little while, releasing bioengineered mosquitoes into the communities. Very controversial indeed. But let's start here in China, and more specifically, let's start in Beijing. It is getting into mosquito season now. What is the capital's plan to control mosquito populations?
Yeah, mosquitoes has always been the thing that is bugging us in the summer.
Nice pun.
Especially, right. Especially when the ones that carry diseases. So I think recently Beijing published a 3-year action plan that's spanning from 2026 to 2028 to control mosquito population. The city will begin piloting a mosquito hazard-free urban districts in its 6 central districts in 2026. So on a voluntary basis, each sub-district or township will have at least one participating residential community and one participating institution, while every district will include at least one district-level park. So these establishments will participating and do some measures. In each agricultural district, at least 3 institutions and 1 village will join the program. Meanwhile, all 13 municipal parks have already begun building mosquito hazard-free environments.
So it's really interesting that now each districts here in Beijing, they are so-called voluntarily, but I'm sure everybody wants this too, that they at least one institution, and by institution we mean like governmental facility or public institutions like a company building or something, they are the first to do things like eliminating small gatherings of water around them. And by agricultural district, you mentioned, Yushan, I think it's for most of the outer suburban areas here in Beijing that's located in the outer side of the city, where farming and the livestock production and modern agriculture are connected. So with those facilities there has to be irrigation systems. There has to be the gathering of water. There has to be, potential ways for mosquito to breed. So these areas are also part of this whole design for reducing the mosquito.
The population, yeah. So it's a 3-year program. By the end of, you mentioned the 2026 plan. Then by the end of 2027, they'll expand the program. There will be at least 50% of the city's communities involved, villages, parks, public buildings like that, participating. Public awareness of mosquito prevention is also expected to improve significantly. That kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose, right? When you have programs in place, the public becomes more aware. So that's going to be next year. And then the third and final year of the plan for Beijing That's when they plan to roll out the initiative citywide. The goal is to have 80% participation among communities and villages and parks and public buildings. So that's kind of what's on the agenda over the next 12, 24, 36 months for the cities. But specifically, we talk about plans, but specifically, what types of measures are we talking about?
The measures are, I think, in every aspect of controlling the numbers or the population of the mosquitoes. So you remove standing water, control mosquito larvae, and also conduct surveys of mosquito breeding sites, create management records, and carry out regular cleanups and monitoring, use approved insecticides, and also expand public education campaigns on mosquito prevention. So these things are, I think, from the part of physically preventing the growth of these mosquito population to the education to even the citizens. So that is how they can, I think, have a round-up level prevention on the whole control of the mosquitoes.
Water control. They do love stagnant water, don't they? But you can't really, I suppose, you can never really create a 100% mosquito-free zone, because when we use that word, mosquito hazard-free environment, it doesn't mean that it's 0% mosquitoes, yeah?
Yeah, that phrase you just mentioned, the mosquito hazard-free environment, it actually refers to a place where mosquito populations are kept at a level that doesn't cause significant nuances or health risks. So what it takes is to use scientific and sustainable measures to control mosquito numbers, especially in areas such as in parks, in the communities, and other public spaces where people are gathering. There are children, elders who are easily affected by those disease spread by mosquitoes, and also keeping mosquito biting rates within safe standards and reducing the risk of diseases such as dengue fever and chikungunya.
It's just impossible to eliminate all of the mosquitoes because you have lake, you have water, of course, in the city, and actually human need water and parks in their lives.
Yeah, so it's not about eliminating every mosquito. It's about that balance, isn't it? Yeah, chikungunya. You mentioned dengue and chikungunya. I've heard of dengue before. We did an episode about dengue in part anyway. Chikungunya, though, I was not familiar with at all. So this morning I was watching a TV show online called The Doctors. It's from America. And they were talking about chikungunya. Actually, the show that I was watching was 11 to 15 years old. So this is not new by any stretch at all. But the name itself, so the virus isn't new. The name itself means to contort, meaning to like bend over. And that name comes from the fact that that's what you do because the pain is so extreme.
It hurts the joints.
Yeah, in your joints, like your ankles and your knees and I guess all your joints. The pain is so extreme that you contort yourself. You double over in pain. As far as I know, according to the doctors, it's not fatal. But at the same time, it is insanely painful for people. So definitely put that on your radar of things to stay away from.
Yeah, for chikungunya, the first time we talked about it was around this time last year when it hit Guangdong province in southern China pretty hard, I think.
Well, let's talk about Guangdong as a matter of fact, because it's not just Beijing that's taking measures.
Yeah, indeed, because Guangdong is also releasing a lot of public notifications to remind and also alert citizens to pay attention to mosquito population around you. So they are urging residents that if you see a potential breeding site, it could be anything, a pond, a small gathering of water, a small stand of water on the ground, vases on your balcony, plant trays, buckets, and other containers, even just a tiny amount of water in a bottle cap, eliminate it. It's simple. It's just regularly clear out any standing water that can potentially serve as a breeding ground, and scrubbing the water containers' inner surface, that will help.
Yeah, and they also want people to, and this is kind of just, every year common advice, use your window screens You might be tempted, like on a day like today in Beijing, when we have beautiful blue skies and the air is stunning today, to open up your windows nice and wide. But do use your window screens. If you need, use bed nets indoors. They're telling citizens that. If you're out, use your mosquito repellents. Wear some light-colored long sleeves when you're out. And if you can, too, if you're outdoors, electric repellents, I guess those would be those things. The zappers. I always called them zappers. I don't know what the actual name is. They give off like blue lights. I don't even know how they work, but they attract
Or at
bugs.
home you have it's like an equipment, looks like a badminton.
Paddle. It looks like the tennis rackets.
Yeah.
Zzz. And you've got those little things you can plug into your walls as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the home advice. What about on the medical side? If you do find yourself not feeling so good from a bite.
Yeah, people who develop fever or rash or joint pain should seek prompt medical attention and take precautions to avoid further mosquito bites while infected. And authorities stress that even mild symptoms shouldn't be ignored, as patients can be highly infectious in the early days of dengue or chikungunya. But the thing is that we are specifically talking about Guangdong because if there are like cases that's happened in Guangdong, then we may have the risk. But if it is in other areas, we don't need to be overly panicked because some of the symptoms can also happen because of other reasons. But if you don't feel like if you feel uncomfortable or at the level of you cannot stand at all, then just go to see a doctor.
The dengue fever and chikungunya virus that we're talking about is not restricted to one part of the world. It's in the United States as well. Let's get to the Google thing. This is really quite, I don't know if controversial is I think it is the right word, because some people are saying like, what are you doing? So this is what's going on. It's not exactly Google. It's a company that's owned by Google. It's called Debug. And they plan to release 32 million male mosquitoes of a particular species, the species that transmits chikungunya and dengue. So I think it's Aedes aegypti or something like that. It's a particular breed of mosquito. So they want to release 32 million males throughout Florida and California. Now, these mosquitoes that they will release are infected with Wolbachia, which is a bacteria that makes them incompatible with uninfected females. So here's the plan. When wild females mate with these males, their eggs won't hatch. They don't hatch. So that gradually will reduce the population. Now, the situation currently is Debug, the company owned by Google. They have requested to the Environmental Protection Agency permission to do this. You can't just release 32 million mosquitoes into the environment without the Environmental Protection Agency's permission.
And they're so-called bioengineered. It doesn't really good.
Well, yeah, because they're infecting those male mosquitoes with that bacteria, right? So right now, they are in the public comment phase of the negotiations. That was going to be until I think the 5th of June. And then beyond that, they'll make their decision, I suppose. The goal here for the company and for the environment is to lower the populations of these particular breeds of mosquitoes, the ones that spread dengue and yellow fever and Zika virus is on that list as well, without releasing biting mosquitoes. The male mosquitoes don't bite. Only the female mosquitoes do. So that's their overall plan. It's very controversial. A lot of commenters are saying things like, why is a company messing with the environment?
Yeah.
This is what people are concerned about. Experts are saying there is a bit of a moderate risk of introducing as well potentially harmful genetic changes into the environment. So people are very uncomfortable with this concept, and I think it's just because they don't really know. There's other questions too, like they're going to have to continue doing this. This isn't a one-off.
Yeah.
They're going to have to continue doing this to control the female population of mosquitoes, and people are saying, what happens if debug runs out of money? What happens if they just change their mind and they say they don't want to do this anymore? So it's kind of a hot button issue in America right now. I'm super curious to see what the decision is, because if they approve it and if it proves to be effective, which we will have to wait a few years for, we could see that strategy employed in other parts of the world.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking all of that's long term. The moment I heard that you said there's going to be a bunch of mosquitoes released there, my mind just went blank. You know, like we're talking about releasing mosquitoes in the ecosystem.
Bioengineered mosquitoes.
Bioengineered ones that we don't know if it's going to work firsthand, and also it is irreversible. You can't catch them back.
Can't go back.
Exactly.
And there's a list. We won't get into all the potential problems with it, but there are things that can go wrong with it too. Well, speaking of the world populations of mosquitoes, where are we now? It seems like there are a lot of factors contributing to the rise.
Yeah, indeed. There are several factors, but climate change is one of the biggest drives, because warmer temperatures allow mosquitoes to survive longer, to reproduce faster, and expand into regions that were previously too cold for them. And in the meantime, more frequent rainfall and flooding across the world, it is also creating ideal breeding conditions for them, because mosquitoes, they can lay eggs in every tiny amount of standing water, as we've mentioned before. So heavier rains, which we unfortunately see so many now that even in northern China, lead to a boom in mosquito numbers. So yeah, it's an issue that's kind of more widely discussed and more commonly discovered around us nowadays.
I realized that because I went check some of the reasons, because in the winter, mosquitoes don't bite. We don't have too many mosquito bites.
You don't really see them.
Yeah, but it's not that in the winter they just disappeared or they got eliminated or something. They are just resting during winter.
They hide away.
Yeah, in the form of maybe eggs or something. But when the temperature rise to a certain level and they started to get they started to get active. And that's why when the climate change is, I think, affecting the temperature globally, everything is connected. So, of course, when we're thinking about the climate change is something that is huge or global, but maybe in our daily lives, some of these details can be affected, just like the butterfly effect. One spot that's got changed can affect maybe the global situation of the mosquito.
Yeah, mosquitoes don't just disappear in the wintertime, which is evidenced by, you'll see that in December or January, like one random mosquito in an elevator or something, and you're like, you lost, bro? Like, what are you doing here at this time of year? It's not just yes, it is in areas where there is a lot of water. Cities are adding more green spaces and wetlands and water features, and yeah, they create, a lot of ecological benefits, but then you're adding new habitats for mosquitoes too. But it doesn't have to be heavy water areas, in the sense that, if you're looking at regions around the world that are facing water scarcity, well, then households storing water in open containers, same idea as maybe a small lake. It's the same concept, just on a smaller scale. That can be a breeding ground too.
Yeah, and in the meantime, increased global travel and trade also make it easier for both mosquitoes and mosquito-borne viruses to spread across borders. I remember last year the introduction of chikungunya in Guangdong was also because of international flights or something related. So as a result, diseases such as dengue fever and chikungunya, they are appearing in places where they probably have never seen it before. I think that's the first time how we got heard of the name of this disease, and hopefully in the future we don't hear anymore.
Yeah, but it seems like we are going to, because mosquitoes are becoming way more than just a summertime nuisance. I remember growing up in Canada, of course, we have mosquitoes as well. We have a lot of them in the summertime, but you never really thought about mosquitoes anything more than just an annoying part of summer.
Yeah, even getting bit, it's like, yeah, this is just summertime norm.
You don't even think about it, right? But that's just not the case anymore.
the diseases are the things that we're talking about, and we've mentioned it a lot of times. The diseases, in particular, dengue fever and the chikungunya,
Those are
have drawn heightened attention.
Those are the two names that seem to be getting the most attention these days.
Both are spread by the same black and white striped mosquitoes. In fact, China's National Disease Control and Prevention Administration officially added chikungunya to Class B infectious disease management in April in 2026. And that means that the growing concern surrounding these illnesses. So these diseases can have very serious health consequences. One thing, dengue can sometimes develop into severe bleeding, shock, or even multiple organ failure, especially among infants, older adults, pregnant women, and people with underlying health conditions. And chikungunya is also rarely fatal, but the joint pain we just mentioned before, can linger for months or even years, and after the infection has cleared. So adding to these challenges, there are currently no specific antiviral treatments for either diseases, so making prevention the most effective defense.
You have to be careful about spreading these as well. There was a report from China Daily that came out very recently, and this is what it said. People infected with dengue or chikungunya can remain highly infectious for several days. If a mosquito bites an infected person and then bites someone else, the virus can continue circulating within the community, and that's why health experts stress that even mild symptoms should not be ignored. I guess what we can do, and I guess we should get to that before we finish up this topic, but number one, don't ignore any symptoms that might, even if you're just a little bit suspicious of, this might be mosquito related, get it checked out. And then the other thing I would be thinking is to prepare your home as best as you possibly can, because inevitably some mosquitoes are going to find their way into your house during the next few months.
Yeah, because it was last year, I think, when buying a bottle of spray, those strong sprays for anti-mosquito inside homes, was hard because everybody was buying it because of chikungunya. And nowadays...
Oh, you had trouble finding the spray?
I had trouble getting it mailed to me immediately. Everybody is running out of stock because everybody was trying to buy a bottle or two for their families. And traditionally, these are the sprays or all those means, the physical means that we talked about. Those are effective, but nowadays we also have innovative ways such as data collection, AI-powered monitoring systems, and predictive models that can also help authorities to identify mosquito hotspots and track disease risks and respond more quickly to outbreaks. So from a management level, these are, I would say, it's a safety net for the majority of us to not only to mind what's happening around us, but also, from a higher level, how it is sensed, how it's alerted, how more people can give a faster reaction to it once there is something going on.
Sure. I mean, if that information can be shared with the community about certain areas, perhaps, that are more at risk than other areas, then that's definitely good information to know for sure. If we do get bitten, I guess as we come to a close on this chat, what can we do to get rid of the itchiness? Are there any secrets? I mean, I spent my entire childhood looking for secrets to that answer, or answers to that secret.
I know it's really hard to resist, but it's generally recommended not to swat a mosquito while it's standing on you, because if you do, there's a chance that the parts of its mouth parts could remain lodged in your skin.
Stuck in your skin.
Yeah, so another tip is to quickly rinse or wipe the area with water after being bitten. This can help remove small amounts of saliva of the mosquitoes that may remain on the surface of your skin.
Yeah, I heard soap water will help too.
Yeah.
Rinsing with soap water.
They can cause local blood they can also cause local blood vessels to constrict, which may help reduce the inflammatory response. And we saw some of the news that people, or we kind of have the experience of, we always like to use our fingernails
Crucify it.
and makes an
Make a
X
little-
shape.
Oh,
on
do
Yeah.
you do that in China too? The X, I mean, it's a human being thing, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like it helps relieves the pain, but actually,
It just stimulates it.
It's just the mild pain temporarily overrides the itchy signal. So it's not that effective. But the things that we can still use ice packs or the sprays to release that itchiness.
Sure. If you do feel like something more serious may be going on, seek urgent medical attention. If there is some sort of severe allergic reaction or fever or headache or body ache or any other thing that your body is trying to tell you that something is wrong, do make sure to take care of yourself during this mosquito season.